I have the pleasure to introduce our next guest. She works as a creative director. She's a mentor. She's a short-term rental owner. She's the wife of Weston and the mom to baby Ryder. She has lived in the area of San Francisco Bay, and she moved there after graduation about 5 years ago. She has worked in the tech industry as a marketing creative director until a few months ago when she quit her job to teach people about the short-term rentals. She is originally from Vermont, and she went to school in Boston for illustration. So art, design, and business runs through her blood. So HomeBnB Podcast listeners, help me welcome Alicia Arnold.
Hi, everyone. First off, I want to say thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited. I love talking about short-term rentals. So this is totally up my alley.
What's next for you and in your career as a short-term rental host?
Yeah, that's a great question. My strategy is to create online resources for hosts so that they can take these classes, and there's also blog posts and different like guides and things like that. They can read it and it will help them, and they can take the classes at their own pace. I think I didn't really realize how complicated what I do is, but since I work as a creative director, I'm really apt at project management and tackling really big projects. But I think it can feel very overwhelming for a lot of people just starting out. And I really wanted to create some step-by-step courses on how to start up your short-term rental, and then for hosts that are already short-term rentals, like resources on how to do that. So I don't see myself, being like some of the people who have like 20 properties. I think me and my husband's vision is to have 3 properties. And for me to manage it, I like managing them myself. I like decorating them myself. I like continually improving them. And it gives me content to help other hosts with. And I think if I got so big, I probably wouldn't be able to be as hands-on with my rentals. And then, so my main lifestyle brand, Alicia Arnold, it focuses around my blog posts. So I come out with a blog post every week. Most of that stuff is about short-term rentals, but some of it's a little more lifestyle. I have a toddler, so some of it's about, blogging and being a mom, and some of it's about, gluten-free cooking. So we kind of branch out, but it's mostly about short-term rentals. And I really want to help people get started because it's just been so good for me. And I really feel like getting short-term rentals is a way to expand your property portfolio and build long-term wealth for your family. And I just think that that's really important. And it takes a lot of like education and knowledge about property investing and then running the business. So I have created an online class, and it's called the Short-Term Rental Lab. And it step by step walks people through, like once they have their property, like what do I do with this to get it on Airbnb? So it talks about setting up the property, hiring the right people, and then actually getting your online listing on like up and running, what platforms to use, and then how to start welcoming guests into your space. So we just bought a condo in Kona, Hawaii. And I spent 4 months this year getting that rental up and running. And we've had a couple of guests, but actually Hawaii is shut down right now because of the coronavirus. I don't think we'll buy another property other than a personal residence in California. And since we started off renting our house in Redwood City, California, we probably will convert that back to a short-term rental when we move out of it into a different house, because we're definitely not in our dream house right now. So we'll probably turn that one back into another rental. But the next one that we want to buy is, me and my husband are kind of like co-hosts and co-creators, and I've kind of taken over it since I've quit my job because I have a lot more free time than him. But we definitely, we come to an agreement of where we want to invest in properties. And like I said, a lot, like it has to make financial sense, but we vacation there. So the next place that we're looking for, we want to be a ski destination. Okay. We're really big ski family, both of us, and hopefully our son will be too, although he's only 1.5, so he hasn't started yet. But we really want to be able to still travel with a family and, be able to have somewhere that's like in easy to fly to from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Right.
So we're kind of thinking like Utah, somewhere in there.
What do you think is the key to success in this industry?
Okay, number one, I would have to say is don't get in over your head. This is a property investment, not only a property investment, but you have to furnish the space, you have to put dishes in the cupboard, and I just would say don't move too fast, too quickly. Make sure that you can cover yourself during, a downtime like this. Point in case coronavirus, I mean, this is very extreme, but if you can't, you don't want to lose your properties if, something extreme happens. And, there's downtimes, there's seasonality for every Airbnb. So you have to kind of make sure you're really paying attention to the numbers, and make sure you don't get in over your head. I think that's number one. I mean, you're a real estate investor, unless you're doing rental arbitrage, which is, if you're not familiar with that term, it's basically using somebody else's property to start up a short-term rental. And in that case, it still is an investment of your time and furnishing the place and getting it ready. I would think in years, not months, when you're doing it.
If you have the opportunity to start again, would you do something different?
I would. And I did get the opportunity to start again with Kona Landing, which is our Kona property, our Kona, Hawaii property. I would say that I would have found the hook for my rental much sooner. You're marketing this place, right? It needs to be special. Absolutely. So figure out what the hook is for your rental. And I have seen some really awesome things, because I'm a helping out short-term rental host. I see a lot of properties. I've seen like a mermaid themed property. I've seen properties with alpacas, treehouse properties. I mean, just the coolest stuff. And that's really special without being hokey. And I think Lodi Landing, the property that I'm in right now, we got it started and it was really nice and clean and a great place to stay. But, I hadn't like really articulated the hook of this property until more recently. So I would say if you're starting up a property, really get familiar with why it's special, right? Like what's special. And this property, after doing a lot of research in the area, we're the only place in Lodi that sleeps 10 with a pool. And there's only 5 other rentals that have a pool. And they don't sleep as many people as us. So that's something that's really special. The wine tasting here is really special. There's over 85 wineries. It's just, wow. It's a gorgeous place. And it's a lesser known wine country. So you're not like waiting in lines at tasting rooms and things like that. You just get right in. It's super friendly and just an amazing environment. So now I feel like I have my hook and I'm steering the property in that direction. But I would say also just from square one, talk to all of your guests, like as much information as you can get out of them. Like, why are they coming? Who are they? Do they have kids with them? Are they visiting family? Are they wine tasting? Are they there for a wedding? And steer your property in the direction of the actual people that you're getting. And, we had a lot of families, so we added a lot of family-friendly amenities to this property, which makes sense because it sleeps so many people. But yeah, I think overall, just find your hook and push it, And
overall, what has been your, I guess, biggest challenge in this industry?
Not spending all my money on throw pillows. No, honestly, I love like updating the interior design of my properties. So I think one of the challenges has been getting a hold of my profit and loss statement for each property and just being really intimate with that. I hired a bookkeeper about a year ago. And I mean, we've been working the whole year to get everything just like very organized, and every month we meet and we go over the profit and loss statement. If your audience isn't familiar with what that is, it's basically how much money is coming into the property and how much money is leaving the property, and how much profit you're left with and what categories you're spending money on. My accountant has saved me a ton of money. I would say definitely get an accountant and get intimate with your financials, because if you're spending like a ton of money on your cleaner and it's not logical, then your accountant can kind of sit down with you and be like, hey, this seems out of whack. And if you're not familiar with your own numbers, then you can end up spending all your profits on throw pillows or like other unnecessary items for your short-term rental. So yeah, I think that that's been a really big challenge